December 14th, 2023. And first on the agenda under public hearings is James Giuliano, 43 Pool Street LLC. Locus is 43 Pool Street. Notice of intent, DP number 348-855. It's a residential four-lot subdivision. And we have a formal request to continue to January 11th, 2000, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, 24.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing for James Giuliano for 43 Pool Street LLC to our January 11th meeting, 2024 at 7 o'clock.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Terrific. Next on the agenda, we have file requests. We have Montvale Land LLC, Locust Hill Street. This is the roadway, DP number 348-0813, and it's requesting a partial certificate of compliance and a bond release. And at the same time, we can talk about them separately, but we also have Montvale Land LLC, Hill Street, The Vale, DP number 348-0814. And again, it's for a partial certificate of compliance and a bond release. And the reason I mention both at the same time, because I have comments for both, and we can talk about them individually, but first of all, I think the commission should do a site walk before any action is taken. We did receive a as-built plan for both, but we did not get a approved plan so we could do a comparison. And for this particular package, we did not get any photos, and I know we've been getting reports and photos, but for these two particular requests, we did not get any photos. So, with that said, Jerry, I know you've been out there, you might have some concerns?
Well, I do have some concerns, but I think I'd like to have some questions answered, and I believe there's a couple of people, representatives of the project. If you could maybe come forward and answer them, please. And just
Good evening, everyone. Yep, I'm
state-
Laura Leach at VHB, for the record.
And for the record, Brian Murray, representing Montvale Land LLC.
Okay, so I'm curious on the first request of the Hill Street is why a partial certificate, COC is necessary. Is there,
As opposed to a full COC?
Yep.
So we have conditions in our order that require 4 years of monitoring, and we can't, we're still in the middle, I think 1 year in, so we can't complete that right now.
Right.
But everything else is completed. So this would essentially seal the work, a document that all the work is complete, and then the only thing that would be remaining on the order is for us to make sure that we complete that 4-year monitoring term.
okay, so if we seal, the work seal, partial certificate, if you need to do something else, you're gonna have to come in and file a notice of intent, for work that, I don't think you're gonna need anything like that, but why don't we just hold it open till the monitoring is complete?
Yeah, well, so right now we have an extension that lasts until next September. We would have to, at that time, either ask for another extension or do a partial certificate. Do you have any thoughts on that?
My thought is that at this point in time, all of the planned construction work is complete following the NOI plans. The Hill Street will also be under the review of the DPW to accept the work on Hill Street and for it to be returned as a public way. And we don't envisage any further work occurring in that area. So at this point, with work complete, we sought to request the release of a partial amount of funds from the escrow from the bond to cover what's been done, to leave funds in which would cover the required monitoring for a further 3 years, and also a portion of the value of the plantings in case that they weren't successful. So there's a security there, so there's funds that would securitize the Montvale Land's obligations to go back in and plant more. But I think it's, our opinion is we want to sort of hand over, show that we've completed the work, and with all that remains is essentially monitoring and maybe replanting if that was needed, but current studies or reports don't show that that's the case.
Right. So you basically doing this to sort of satisfy the DPW director? Or
No, I just thought to mention that from our perspective, we've met all of the obligations and we've completed the work, and we want to close that out and you know, come to the city to say we've done what we intended to do and we're finished, and we'd like to acknowledge that our work's complete. And there are various departments that we have to do that with. The Conservation Commission is one. The DPW is the other, because then they'll take over the street. It's a public way now that the work's all complete.
Yep. Okay, I guess, and again, at some point in time, you know, hopefully you'll be filing for a, you know, complete, or a certificate of compliance for the whole, or what's left, I guess. Yeah, is there gonna be like another partial, or, you know what I mean?
It will be a full, so the idea is no more partials on Hill Street. This would close it out, except for the monitoring piece. So then in 3 years, we'd be back as the full COC for, you know, to show that, assuming everything is good and that monitoring has been completed.
Okay.
Excuse me, I may have missed that when I closed the door. So you were saying earlier that if the commission didn't do a partial, then you'd need to request an extension permit. Wouldn't that still be true even with partial? Because you would have an expired order, right?
Well, we're not intending to do any more work. So I mean, I guess I didn't see any harm in it expiring, because the intent was not to do any more work. Now, again, if we thought like there was a problem with the wetland area and we may need to do something, we could always extend it. But as of now, it's looking good. So I don't anticipate more work in that.
Yeah, I think I would still recommend that you
Keeping it
extend
open.
it, just because if there is something, or the commission says, well,
Yeah.
you need to replant something that's failed.
Yeah, and would that
to
be,
file all over again for that.
would it be okay to extend it another, say, 3 years or whatnot, just to, you know, assuming we have to wait out that monitoring period?
Right, I mean, the commission can issue an extension permit for a period of 3 years. I mean, I don't want to
Okay.
speak for them, but I would anticipate that they probably would do that.
Got it. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Probably makes more sense.
I would think we would need it in order for the monitoring process to continue.
Right, I mean, they could monitor it without it, but if they needed to plant anything or any of that, then
Yeah.
it'd come into a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'd like
That's
to avoid that.
If we are to consider doing the partial tonight, then should we also do that extension tonight as well? So that,
So I think
not
it's
to wait
still good
until
until September, correct?
it's still good for a while.
but so they'll have to come back in September to extend it?
Yes, yep.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
And so, as it relates to the escrow funds, I think, as the chairman said, I think we should have a site walk, and I don't think
Sure.
we should, you know, release these funds until we go out and actually even look at we haven't done a site walk for the entire roadway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we should do a site walk before we issue a partial or release some of these funds.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
Makes sense?
I agree.
Yep.
And just looking at I didn't really have any problem with the release request, except maybe, I thought 75% might be a little too much on the plantings and the soil. I thought 50 might be reasonable, because it looked like you were at 60 to 70% as far as the woody vegetation goes, you know, being viable out there. You know, who knows what it's gonna be like, you know, a year from now, you know? So I think that's just my opinion. Again, I had no problem with the 100% of the excavate to wetland soil subgrade and 25% of the post-construction monitoring. It was just I just think that maybe we could do the 50% on the plantings.
Okay.
But again, I think that would come at the next, the next meeting.
After you look, yep, yep, that's fine, yep.
That's all I had for that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so I'm just looking, trying to do the math. Again, I'm not opposed with releasing, but I do agree, I think we should have a site walk, and if everything looks up to snuff, I have no opposition, voting in favor of the partial. And I think, I'm trying to do it's fuzzy math, but about 39,000 would stay in escrow, is that correct? Well, I know, I'm sorry, I know you,
No,
it
that's-
was 128, we're releasing 89. I'm thinking it's in that ballpark, but again, as long as it looks good, I don't have any opposition, so, but I would like to see a site walk.
That sounds good, yeah, I have about 21,000 instead of 24, would be the release amount, so. Sounds good. Is that,
So shall we,
Should we schedule now or
If-
wait
Just have
until
a
the
quick
end?
comment before we move forward. So I agree with everything here. It all sounds good. If I think we're at agreement for sidewalk coming out and the way to proceed and all that. Just a side comment in terms of a question. I gotta tell you, I went up there, I was with Dwayne, I was with Jerry, I've been up there a few times and everything like that. It's pretty impressive. You go up the top, I can see New Hampshire. I think I'm gonna get a new place to watch the fireworks. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so impressive, I wanna tell you that. Now that I've led with that, here's what I'm really getting at. There's gotta be a process with the monitoring. I don't know if it's you, I don't know if it's the land or what. We gotta keep that clean up there. There's a lot of trash and everything like that. We gotta keep it clean.
okay.
So we did point out certain areas, there were certain concerns when we were there and everything like that. We go to do the site walk and everything like that. If you tell the landlord or whoever's, in charge of it, they gotta I know it's hard. We
Which
got the
area?
wind up there,
Which area are you referring to? if
all the
we
way up
switch
top, Jerry, which,
The Delaney.
the Delaney.
Okay,
So what we can pass this feedback on. I think what I've also noticed is that with construction going on, more so on the residential site with Pulte, in wind, sometimes construction debris can blow off, and we pass the message on to clean things up that blow around.
Good, and I know you're up high and it's the wind and I get it all, but we were up top and it was cold, right? And you could feel the wind in your face and stuff, so I know what the dynamics are, but if you could just pass that along. I want it to
Sure.
stay clean, it's such a good job, you don't want it spoiled, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
anybody else?
No.
So, we should schedule a site walk. Is it possible that you're gonna alter or edit your requests in terms of, partial versus complete?
nope, I think at this time we'll still request the
Okay.
partial.
And is there any change in the amounts of money that you're looking for to be released?
I think that requires you all to be in
Right,
agreement
we have
of
to give that input.
what amount, but, this was our request, but if you see differently, then that's okay with us, so, yeah.
All right, so, as I suggested, I think before we take any action, I really feel that we should do a site walk. Availability Commission,
Well, this is something that would have to be done on a Saturday, don't you think? Or, well, I mean, a weekend.
yes.
Thank you.
If we're talking this weekend,
I can't do it. No.
I'm sorry, is the site available on a weekend? for-
Yes, so now the whole of the Vale is publicly open, and in fact, there are residents inhabiting completed properties on
Okay,
the Pulte
okay.
site. So the commission is free to go onto site, walk on the sidewalks, and view the wetlands from there, and similarly for Hill Street as well.
Okay.
So that, I don't believe you would need to have the contractor present or the
Okay.
owner present.
Great.
so again, availability.
I'm just looking forecasting wise, this seems like a pretty good weekend. I think Saturday looks good, Sunday looks okay, but warmer.
Saturday is supposed to be warm. I can do morning, I can't do afternoon. I can do Sunday at any time. The following weekend, we're getting into Christmas.
I don't
so
want to do the
that's-
following weekend, so.
I can do Saturday or Sunday.
I can do Saturday,
morning.
Sunday.
I can't.
I can't do Sunday.
Make Saturday, I can do Sunday.
Okay. Pauline?
I can't do Sunday. I don't even know if I can do Saturday. I can, if that's best for everyone, I'll see if I can change something.
All right, well, let's count on Sunday, 9 o'clock, too early?
9's good.
Do you
the
need,
17th, correct?
us to attend? It's just a site walk for you folks,
Yeah,
right?
just to confirm, yeah.
Okay,
We have an as-built, yeah, so we can, yeah.
Might be
But,
good if you have any questions, if we have questions.
yes,
So when
could
we
you-
get requests for certificates of compliance, we usually require the original approved plan and the as-built, so we can compare. And obviously, we did not get the approved plan. But back to the date, Sunday at 9, is that acceptable? Can you guys,
I can't do that. But that's okay.
are you guys okay with Sunday at 9?
yeah, no, I would say, we're very comfortable with you convening and going unless you need us to be there. Just because, obviously, we've got family on the weekends.
Yeah,
So
you can't be there.
But I mean, if the commission needs us to be there, then we'll make arrangements.
As long as we have access and, can get right in there, I think we're good without.
could I ask, would it be possible for you to get us a copy of the approved plan with the as-built so that I can, could you get
Do
that?
you mean the approved permit set? Is that what you're
So,
asking?
I don't remember how many sheets, we wouldn't need all the sheets, but just like something to compare the as-built to, just so the commission could take that out with them, is that possible?
Yeah, it's from the NOI set, yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can find what would be best, just like a layout, in other words, nothing, do you want grading too, or, I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably, well, I would guess it would be probably the grading and drainage sheet, but
Yep,
I don't have it
okay.
in front of me, so I'm not, but something that shows the same kind of pertinent information, but we wouldn't need the whole plan set, just that.
And the planting plan as well,
Oh, that would probably be helpful. Yes,
Yeah,
for both Hill
Yep.
Street and the Vale.
right, yes.
okay.
So Sunday at 9, we'll meet at the new bottom parking lot
Yes, on the left,
as you're going in on the right.
On the right.
on the right, excuse me.
Yep,
My other left, but yeah.
okay.
Oh, it did?
And our next meeting is
January
11th?
11th,
What time?
6:30.
Thank you.
January 11th. Okay, great. I did bring with me tonight the hard copies that you needed of the annual wetland report
Excellent.
for the Vale. I feel like that might be a good thing to have with you when you're on the walk, so I can give, yeah.
Yep, okay. Yes, that'd be great, thank you.
Now, are we talking about, are we gonna go on to the next, so
I'm sorry?
are we gonna actually speak about the Vale, request as
We
well?
can.
Okay, yeah. So, I had some questions about the Vale request for the partial. It looks like we had already received on line 5 of the request.
Yeah, so you're referring to the form, itself?
Yep.
The request for a certificate of compliance form?
Yeah.
Looks like what was previously submitted that the commission issued
Yeah, we've already issued a partial for the
for the pad ready?
pad ready.
Oh, my goodness. No, that is my fault. I apologize.
It's okay.
That is not supposed to say that. That is supposed to say what the letter says, which is essentially requesting a partial certificate of compliance for the completion of the wetland construction, the large wetland construction that was partial wetland restoration for the hazardous material cleanout and partial wetland mitigation for the impacts that, wetland impacts that were from the development. So in other words, this partial request is just to show that the wetland, all of the wetland construction has been completed. It does not preclude any work, like we fully acknowledge there's gonna be some construction on the Vale at some point, so it doesn't ask for any completion of that. It's just for the wetland area.
And could I ask, and that's just, we're talking about what was, what I think was wetland F, not,
Yes.
we're not talking about the stream itself,
No,
just that? Okay.
yes, great clarification. So this is not for the stream,
Okay.
because the stream is only partially complete. It's
Okay.
halfway done. So this is just for the far wetland, brand new wetland that was constructed and restored. Yeah.
So I have some concerns with the restored and replicated. I
Sure.
don't believe that exactly what was proposed has come to fruition out there. I think we've,
It's true.
so,
Yeah.
and it appears as though there's no plans to, you know, alter what's been done. I just feel like there's not really, to me, it's like a pond was created more, and it's not because you wanted it that way, it's because of what's the underlying soils are, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, did you see the annual report? Okay, good. Just, I was hoping you had some context with it. That was exactly what happened. So the existing wetland that's out there, while doing well, does not look like the plan. For a variety of reasons. One being the underlying gelatin material is very dense. It's almost like a clay-like material, and so it's confining water. It's a confining layer. And so water is ponding more than what we anticipated. Also, we did a lot of lovely plantings. And as you might notice when you're out there, there is a lot of cattail. Cattail has naturally come in. It's a colonizer and it's native. It's not something we planted, but it came in really nicely and it is very successful out there. The nice thing about that is that it's a very healthy vegetation. It is also, cattail in particular, is really good at treating for water quality. So when you have a lot of stormwater runoff that's coming off the site, it's being treated really well. That said, a lot of the native things that we planted are being chewed by deer heavily. They're, I don't know what the percentage that he gave in the report, but it's definitely a majority of what was planted has been browsed heavily. So that just means that those plants are not surviving and other plants are coming in naturally. I think what's interesting is we weren't expecting it to hold as much water, and at the same time, when you go out there, I don't know if this will happen when you do the sidewalk, but when I was out there, it's very pleasantly surprising how much wildlife habitat that little pond is creating. We've seen, I have seen mallards and heron and definitely a lot of bird use of that area. So while what we had, engineered was a slightly different expectation, what's actually coming in is quite nice. And so anyway, that's our sort of take on it. And I think you should read the report and see what you think. It's year one. We also got a lot of rain this year. So I am curious myself to see what happens next growing season, if it's a little drier, how the plants respond to that. I think that'll be just really interesting data for us to gather. But yeah, take it in when you're out there, see what you think. And please read the wetland report that Jay is our wetland scientist like me. He did the construction. He was out there actively watching the construction when it was done, modifying in the field, and then also doing these sort of annual, actually it's twice annual inspections where he looks at cover type and things like, are the deer browsing too much? Things like that. So,
All that said,
yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
listen to every word, I'm trying to pay attention, a lot of.
Sorry, I was talking
It's
to
all
you.
right, no,
Yeah.
it's me trying to soak it in and understand. You're saying, instead of being less than, it's better than.
No, I wouldn't say. I'd say this is equivalent because
Equivalent.
when you look at the standards for creating wetlands, you have certain standards that have to be achieved. One of them is in the Wetlands Protection Act. It's also in your order, 75% vegetation cover. So that's one thing. But the other, there are as you can imagine, wetlands of all different types, and when we initially thought we planted for an emergent and a shrub kind of community, it's become very emergent, which is why you have all the cattail. So there are differences that have happened, but it makes it no less of a wetland. So anyway,
It's just what you expected.
it's
Didn't
not.
work, but other things that you didn't expect did work.
That is correct, yes. And we're continuing to watch it because it's dynamic, right? It's going to
Yeah.
evolve, and we're gonna be monitoring. So
That's under the same 4-year monitoring.
exactly, yeah. And we treated all the Phragmites, so you might notice it looks quite. And that's something that sorry if I should use the right word. The common reed is the invasive plant that grows around the perimeter of the new area. So one of the interesting things that happened was it was wetter, right? We talked about this. It's wetter than we thought it would be. That's actually really good for keeping out common reed because it doesn't like to be too wet. So it's actually doing, it's a good thing for invasives and growing invasives in that area. But in any event, we're still treating that huge stand of Phragmites common reed. And that's on a 4-year treatment program. So again, we're hoping that less of that and more of the natives will be coming in.
Yep.
So I understand the rain and I understand the sort of clay-like underneath, but are the grades actually correct? Like, was it excavated to where it was specified to be?
Yeah, so it was excavated to the depth on the engineering plan, and then it was excavated further in the field. That was a field change by the wetland scientist because there wasn't enough hydrology at the excavated elevation. That's why you have a wetland scientist in the field doing it as well. And he took it down slightly further in the field. Then he saw like hydric soils, right? So evidence that he was at the right groundwater elevation. And that's the elevation that it was built on. So when it was completed, I think it was like last year at this time, we submitted a wetland completion report, and that shows, it kind of detailed the field changes, and there were plant substitutions we had to detail out too, just because of plant availability. So there were all those sort of changes were documented in that report, and there was also an as-built that was of the wetland area that was provided. I think I referenced that in here just because I felt like it was repetitive to supply it again.
Yeah.
When you already had it. So yeah, okay. Cool.
Having said that, I think it would be helpful for the commission to have it when they're going out and looking at it.
Doing
The
the
as-built
walk,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can add that to the printing.
Excuse me, Teresa, the differences they explained on what they thought the wetland would replicate at and what ended up happening, which doesn't sound like it's a terrible thing, does that need to be reflected somewhere along the line in the as-built? Is it?
I think it should be, because it seems like they've sort of created more of a pond situation than a wetland.
It should be somewhere. in
So
the
I
plan.
think it should be documented somehow. I'm not entirely sure whether I think the commission should necessarily release as a partial, if this is still kind of in flux and we're still gonna
Yeah.
see.
Right.
Because we
Exactly.
don't know what the conditions are gonna be next year, and if we have a drought, maybe that will
If we're not sure
completely
on the
change
weather, yeah.
this. So it might be, I think it's definitely worthwhile for the commission to take a look at it and, you know,
And would that be
observe
down the
it, but-
line after the 4-year monitoring?
I think, I mean, it's hard for me to say right now because I don't know how it's gonna function next year, and maybe a little bit more time. We could see if it kind of stays as a pond or if it changes, because it might. It was an
might.
unusually wet summer. I feel like
was.
every weekend
Yeah.
seems like it rained, so I remember that. So, you know, it might be something that, you know, I think maybe the commission could consider some of the bond release potentially, but maybe not do the partial on that. But I'll leave that to the commission. I think doing a site visit will be important.
Okay, got it. So, even if you didn't issue a partial certificate of compliance, you might still have the potential to release some of the bond money based on what's been completed to date.
Yeah,
Is that
that-
right?
That would be up to the commission, but I think,
Right.
I don't want to speak for the commission, but I think it's something that maybe the commission could consider, but it may also depend on what the site visit,
Yep,
what the findings are.
yep,
And
yep.
maybe they make some adjustment to what's asked, I don't know.
Sounds good.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Good for now.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll do our site walk on Sunday morning, and we'll have this back on the agenda for the 11th.
Obviously, we need to continue both,
It's not a public hearing,
so they don't,
so-
okay. does
so
it
you
have to
don't,
be-
so it's just, it'll be on the agenda.
Close it.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right? Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, next on the agenda, under business items, we have the City of Woburn, Locust is New Boston Street Bridge, DP number 348-827, request for a minor modification to the plan. I have looked at the plan itself, I've read the narrative. I personally don't have any issues. I think I would suggest that we approve the request for minor modifications. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just had one question. Is there already a waiver for the 25-foot no disturb work?
I think we did give
I
it.
think so, so.
Yep.
That's all I just wondering. Okay, good.
And
I don't really have any questions, but Teresa might have a question or two, I believe. So, I agree. I mean, I'm in favor of approving it as a minor change, but Teresa, you may have had a couple questions.
Teresa, did you have any issues?
I just have actually just a couple of questions. I think it does make sense as a minor change, but if someone can just answer a couple of quick things for me, that, I'd appreciate that. When I looked at the plan, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm reading it right, it looks like there's sort of a kind of a dark line, which I was assuming was the erosion controls probably for the 316 New Boston site. And what my question is will that need to be a section removed for access? Because it kind of looks like the access may cross that, and I'm not sure if I was looking at the plan correctly.
So I'm actually going to defer to our Eversource staff here. Again, I'm Dan Canada with VHB, environmental scientist.
Hi, Mark Cristiano, project manager with Eversource. Yes, that will be removed for the day they're going to access the area, but we're assuming construction will take a day and they're going to immediately replace the silt fence as
Okay.
well. There's a temporary fence in the area it's an active construction site. so
Okay, and if the silt fence is damaged, it'll be repaired and replaced?
Yes, the developer is working with us. We're actually going to access through their property to get to the poles, so, yes. it'll be repaired.
Great, excellent. And you answered my second question, which is how long will the work take? You expect a day?
About a day or two, yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have about 2 bucket trucks out there. One will have a driller on it and 8-foot hole, and
Okay, and then,
Yep.
thank you. And then the last question I had is, there's like a little thing that says, where is it? Sediment control barrier. I just was wondering what that consists of. It's pretty close to the wetland, so just wondered what you're proposing for that.
well, okay.
Wattles, with like, biodegradable, like,
Yes.
okay,
Eversource all uses biodegradable now.
Great. Sounds good to me. I don't have any other questions.
Well, I just want, one that came to mind as we're talking, I didn't know you guys from Eversource are going to be here, but when is this, when do you plan on doing this?
so this work is actually holding up the DOT. There's a couple of projects going on in the area, the apartment complex, the DOT is building the bridge across New Boston Street, railroad there. So we're anticipating as soon as possible to get this work completed.
Okay,
Very-
okay. Okay, thank you.
Can you get their names?
Any other discussion, questions?
No, thank you.
Can we just get your names for the
Yes.
minutes?
No, I didn't notice.
Bing, bing, bing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right, if there aren't any other questions or discussions, can I get a motion to accept the request for a minor modification to the plan?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have the minutes of October 12th, 2023. I only had one question. It's not a mistake or a editing problem. It's just, if you go to the first public hearing, the RDA for Mishawam, the second to last sentence followed by Commissioner Lonis asked about excavated material. Mr. Boss responded, "It will be spread out." Was
Well, it
that
says he will.
specified that it would be spread out outside of the floodplain
He will spread
that's
it
there,
He-
or is it
I
in
don't-
the floodplain?
I don't think he answered that.
He didn't really answer that.
I don't think he said, so I would say the minutes should stand. I don't think he made that distinction.
He didn't make the distinction.
Well, he should have, correct?
Well,
Well, he-
we're gonna see him again, so probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was
Yeah, no, he should have, yeah.
That was the only red flag that came up in this particular set of minutes. When I read, he said it will be spread out, and it wasn't designated where he was gonna spread it out, I had a concern about that.
Yeah, I think he was, he might have been talked out at the time, so he just didn't come to him. where he was gonna
Okay.
spread it out.
So other than that, I didn't see any other edits or anything, so any other discussion?
Yeah, I just had a couple on page 1, under the first public hearing. First sentence, very minor. Applicant and property owner Timothy Boss was, second sentence, commission members.
Yep, got it.
Instead of commissioner.
Got it.
And then on page 4, under Andrew Marcinek, the second paragraph, second sentence, he stated he is no longer the property owner, explained that when he bought the home in June, and it says 2022, it should be 2020.
Good catch.
Good catch.
That's all I had there. Chairman, I would move that we accept the meeting minutes of October 12th, 2023 as drafted and amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Terrific. Moving on, we have the minutes of October 26. And I didn't catch anything. Any discussion?
I would just note that at the top in the title block, it should say Engineering Conference Room, City Hall. I didn't notice that earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2023 as drafted and amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
And then we have the minutes of November 16th. I don't think, page 2, the very last sentence at the top. It says, Chairman Clegg and Commissioner Meany agreed. The commission discussed other areas of the pond that the kiosk would receive more foot traffic. Should those areas be named, or is it okay to just leave it up in the air like that? Because I had mentioned specifically 3 different areas.
I actually think it's okay because the commission didn't agree on any.
Right.
Yeah.
and not- Whether they picked them or not, yeah. Let's
So we
see.
specify nothing.
Okay, that was the only thing I had on that one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the meeting minutes of November 16th, 2023 as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, schedule site walks. We have the Vale at Sunday at 9 a.m. I don't know, I have an F. We have a request for a minor change on the plan for 183 Lexington Street.
Yes, I think this one I would recommend the commission approve. I have probably the easiest way to look at it, as I have an overlay with what was approved and what is being changed. I will pass it around. It's a little hard to see the change, but the red on the plan is what was approved, and the yellow, if you can see it, is what is now requested. And it's, so the structure is actually a little bit smaller, a little bit further from the wetland. There's a deck that's maybe a little bit closer, but we're still in the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone. So I would recommend the commission approve it as a minor change.
Any discussion?
I'm just, I guess I am having a hard,
Yeah, it's hard to read. Okay.
like, distinguishing what,
What Lexington Street is this?
So
183, is that?
183, it's down by Four Corners.
Four Corners.
Oh.
So the red is what the commission approved. The yellow, which is really hard to see,
Oh, okay.
is what he's asking to do.
I got rid of a
So
lot.
it's just, there's a deck out here that's probably gets closer. Everything else is either the same or gets further away.
Oh, okay. Is that the,
I think it's,
This
The
is,
shelter, yeah?
yes, this is what he wants to do without, like,
Oh,
this
there's
is
two
what's in
houses.
yellow.
This is one of the houses.
This is one,
Yeah, right.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah. All right.
That's the old white thing that's been partially picked and prodded, the fence and all.
we did a site walk out there
Yes, we did.
a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's,
This is what he
what's
wants
the,
to do.
nursery?
Yeah, it's
Whereabouts
right,
is
it's
this?
right next to,
McHugh's, this is McHugh's property, I believe.
No, it's
No?
no, she's next,
She's next door, she doesn't own both?
no.
No.
The two lots?
There's a well in the backyard.
Yes.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
Exactly.
what I said to Teresa.
Yeah.
I wondered what was going on. So what's he want to do?
So he wants to do this.
When Teresa
And the
showed it to me in the
commission-
office, I
It
didn't
was
really
two
have
lots.
any issues,
Yes,
but
this is only lot two.
That's-
Oh, okay. Which
He's
is the
only
left?
changing one
Is
of
this
them.
on the Musto side or on the other
I
side?
think lot one
that
is
would
here,
be,
but I couldn't.
that would be the mustard.
This is the Musto, okay. I can't tell the difference, so
I don't know if I can pass them that, sorry.
I'm guessing it is the Musto
I wanna look
side.
inside the barn. I like a good barn
I remember the walk.
Deconstruct it and take it.
Yeah.
Gotta be old,
Oh.
yeah.
Jerry, see any issues?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the
I'm
other
not
kind
seeing
of
what
thing.
the change is.
It's just a little closer, the deck is a little closer, but
Oh, yeah, you
Here?
don't-
well outside
you
the
don't see it
100 foot.
here. You
Oh,
see it here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The yellow, the red was proposed and the yellow is the change, if you can see
Oh.
the yellow.
I think
color.
that's,
Crazy color to pick.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, go red, blue next
Good
time.
to see live, but I think that's.
We need a motion?
I think so, yeah.
I think so.
There you go, there you go.
Thanks.
This is the last meeting of the year.
This is.
Not yet. So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the minor, the change at 183 Lexington Street as a minor one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? There any other issues to be discussed?
Nope, I do have
Hearing
these
none.
to hand out.
Hearing none, Mr. Chairman, I would like to adjourn the last meeting of 2023.
Woo-hoo!
Second.
That was
All
a
in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
so moved.
Thank you all.